I have 50 podcasts already up.
Wow. Okay.
Well, we're back with you today from the Women's Expo of the Southern Baptist Convention, and we are so glad to have with us today Miss Abigail from Southern Seminary. And I'm excited that she's joining me today. I didn't get to interview anyone last year.
Okay.
And so I'm really glad that you're here. So, Abigail, share with us what you do at Southern and your role there in that ministry. Would you do that for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
So I am the Associate Director of Admissions for Boyce College. So I work
Okay.
mainly with our undergraduate students, talking a lot to high schoolers, trying to get them to come to Boyce, but also just recruiting for Christian higher education in general,
Yeah.
and just encouraging students that
Wow.
the Great Commission is for everyone, and so you want to be equipped to go into your workplace and do that, go and make disciples and do that well.
Yeah, and I love that because you are in yourself a ministry wife. You're planning and training. Right now we were talking right before we got on. So share a little bit about that, your background, that you're actually doing. Tell us what you're doing for
Yeah.
yourself. Get prepared.
Yes.
Because, and a little bit about your husband, what he's doing.
Yeah.
there.
So my husband, he is working on an MDiv at Southern right now. So he's about a year left of that. And then he'll probably go straight into a PhD from there. So we're in
Yeah.
school for the long haul for the
Yeah,
next few
you are.
years. But I am currently taking classes in the Seminary Wives Institute, which
Yeah.
is a program designed to just further equip pastors' wives, future
Yes.
pastors' wives, to do ministry alongside their husbands.
That's awesome. And Mrs. Moeller, who is the president's wife of Southern Seminary, is going to be honored today in the luncheon. In just a few minutes, we're going to be really at 11:30. These doors will open, and they will honor Miss Moeller as the distinguished ministry wife for this year for the SBC. And so that's exciting,
It is,
right? That's
yes,
very
very
exciting.
exciting.
But with you personally, you're expecting your first child.
Yes,
How
yes, ma'am.
exciting! Oh, that's when are you due?
Yep, August 6th.
Not too long from
Yep,
now.
just
Not
about
too
2
long.
months away.
Well, in our culture, how is Southern, both Boyce and the seminary, preparing women to serve
Yeah.
in their culture today?
Yeah. So, I mean, that is our whole mission statement behind the institution, is that we just want to equip our students to be prepared for a lifetime of ministry in whatever
Yes.
context the Lord is calling them to. So, save a few of our degree programs, all of our degree programs are open to women. So,
Yep.
at the Boyce undergraduate level, every single one of our degree programs has at least 30 credit hours of biblical and theological studies built into it. So,
Yes.
even if you are wanting to go and be a teacher or work in the business world, anything along those lines, you're still getting a great, solid foundation of theological education to,
Yeah.
again, equip you to go and make disciples in whatever context the Lord is calling you to.
That's awesome.
Then at the master's level, I mean, we're a seminary, so all of our degrees are designed very intentionally to equip people for vocational ministry. We also have a few lay leadership degrees as well, so just to further equip leaders in the church.
Right.
And then along with the Seminary Wives Institute as well, we just want to give women those opportunities to know theology and know it well and
Right,
be able to
right.
communicate it well and teach it to other women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in our gender-driven world, and you know that's that hot button that we're dealing with.
Yep.
And I just said in a previous podcast that I think women my age, have been around for a long time, and this is surprising us that we would even be dealing with this. And we want to have the right answers, but how are we preparing women from Southern to go out into this world facing the questions about gender? And how would you address that? How would you answer
Yeah.
that?
I think Southern is preparing women by teaching women the Bible and
Yeah, amen.
teaching women theology and giving it to women in its full form. Like,
Yeah, right.
theology, I think for a while has been a bit of a boys' club, and
Yes.
thinking only the pastors can know the rich
Yes.
theology.
And I agree with that. I think that part of the struggle sometimes for women in my age is it was just for that. And so we're trying to do a catch up for some of us. There's a lot of my peer group who are going back to school
Yeah.
or they're getting degrees right now that they didn't get when they were your age. And so, and part of the reason we're doing that is that I'm getting degrees right now, but because of what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
so I'm like looking at you going, okay, I need to do that. So, and it's not for everyone. Not everyone
Right.
has to. Not everybody has to get a degree. In fact, there's a whole lot of disciples that didn't have a degree.
Right.
So we need to remember that. But if you want to, that helps us, right, to address that gender issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
so
awesome.
women are in the same classes right alongside.
That's good.
All of the
That's
men.
awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a personal question, and it's
Okay.
early on. You're early on in this ministry thing.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't think you're early on in serving the Lord. I think you've been doing, I can tell that you have some seasons with walking with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So how has the gospel and serving in ministry as a woman impacted you? What's it cost you personally, and was it worth it?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing it has cost me is having to die to myself on a regular basis and die to my own opinions on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And just die to myself to be able to serve other people well. But specifically with my opinions on things, I am a decently gullible person, and if you tell me something, I'm going to believe it and run with it. And so there's so many things being thrown at women specifically these days about what you should be pursuing, what your identity should be found in. And so even just a few years ago, I was very caught up in a lot of different things about what I thought a woman should be. But then I was brought back to scripture of just, this is the truth, this is who you're created to be, and this is for you to flourish in that. And it's not to stifle you by any means.
Absolutely.
But it's just for you to know who you are and who the Lord has created you to be.
And he doesn't make a mistake, does he?
No.
He knows us before we were born, and he created us. Abigail, thank you so much for joining me, for representing Southern well, and for being a great voice of truth in your generation, in your context.
Thank you.
I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So thank you for joining me for this episode of Women's Expo Streaming Podcast. We'll talk to you in just a few moments. I'm Diane Nix.